Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Dantona, and I'm the CEO for the SLO Chamber of Commerce. We know there's a lot going on, but it seems we are missing the connections that we used to have with events like Good Morning SLO and the opportunities to understand one another a little better each time we meet. So we at the Chamber thought we could fix that. So we came up with Working Lunch. Every Friday from 12 to 12:30, I'm going to be buying lunch for key leaders in our community, and you'll get a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, at our conversations. We're hoping you'll learn new things about a person you might have already met. We hope they will be informative, entertaining, and that we will all enter the last few hours of work week feeling a little more connected in these isolating times. If you're watching live here on Facebook, feel free to submit questions in the comments for our guests. And so to kick things off, we have Dan Rivoire as our guest, who has gamely agreed to be our first guest in this. And Dan is the Executive Director for Leadership Development here at the Chamber, where he leads the Leadership SLO and Insight Studio, two programs that seek to educate, inspire, and connect our community. You may also know Dan as a former SLO City Council member, or maybe from the Bike Coalition, community advocate, and if you're really lucky, you've gotten to sample him as a fantastic cook. So thanks for being here, Dan. And as we have already seen clearly right off the bat, you're not here alone. Who's joining us today?
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I've got a little partner in crime here who's borrowing my napkin and eating some macaroni and cheese, and she needs her water right now. And we're doing the best we can. We're having some fun day to day and going up and down, riding it out. But we're making the best that we can out of it all.
Yeah, well, so let's see. You started a new job. You also have a new baby. We have COVID-19. So glutton for punishment, or how's all this coming together for you?
Oh, man. I don't think I'm a glutton for punishment, but I try not to get fazed by little things.
Yeah.
And, power through the challenges that show up.
Well, obviously you got a little artist with you there. Looks like you did a fantastic little painting in the back.
She wants to answer a question, I think. What's going on? Why are we home from school? Oh, because the pandemic's happening? What are we going to do later after the pandemic?
Go to the beach.
Oh, go to the beach? I'm not sure if you can hear her. Where else might we go?
Yeah, we can. And the beach is a great idea.
Hi.
Oh, go to the park? Ooh, that's a good idea. Hey, what do you think about listening to some Disney music with Mama while I finish up this call?
Yeah. I'm very much Aladdin, Mom. That's what you.
All right, I'll see you later.
We're on the same page with Aladdin. Definitely agree that. Fabulous, huge Disney fan here too, Fiona. So thanks for sharing a little bit of your time with us, Dan. It's always great to get to talk to people a little more informally, and that's what makes this community so great. Obviously you and I have only had a chance to get to work together for 6 months, but it seems like 6 years since we actually were in the same office. We've been doing a lot of this, but what attracted you to this role to join us in the Chamber and look at this kind of leadership development role?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's just a good connection to San Luis Obispo. I was lucky as a student. I moved here from the Midwest to come to go to school at Cal Poly in 2003, and I connected to the town quite a bit through student volunteer services programs and things, working with local nonprofits and stuff. And so connecting with the community was something that happened early on in my experience in this town. And it carried over into other work opportunities too. So the part of my career you mentioned earlier, the Bike SLO County phase of the game was really a deepening of ties with a lot of wonderful people all throughout San Luis Obispo. And it led to, service on the city council and other great things, and lots of involvement with chamber committees and other groups. But when I left the city council to focus on family and was working with iFixit, which is an awesome local company, I found myself spending a lot of time building relationships throughout the world and throughout the United States, and to some extent missed the hands-on sort of like in the community work that I was able to do in those early nonprofit years and for sure on the city council. And so when I heard that this role was opening up, I honestly couldn't have been more excited because kind of digging back into that history and being able to utilize some of the effort and time that went into all that relationship building over the years really sounded like an exciting thing. And more importantly than that, just being able to help this community have thoughtful, creative, level-headed leadership that's respectful was, I don't know, just sounds like the best way to give back. And so I've always been in love with the program and really sort of astonished by the legacy created before me. I was like, ooh, if I could have even the semblance of an effect in a positive way on this community in that way, this would be the best job ever. And turns out that that is true. It's been really fun so far. And I'm feeling extra excited right now about the role that both Leadership SLO and the Chamber team is playing in the community. I'm really proud to be a part of the team. I think we're really helping a lot of local businesses figure this out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's super interesting for me that I've now been here, officially 18 months, and, always heard about Leadership SLO when I visited for the last 15, 20 years. Obviously, my mother-in-law, shout out to Betsy Nash, who was a huge supporter of Leadership SLO. My mother-in-law, Marcy Powers, went through the class too. And so, I'd heard a lot about it, but couldn't imagine a program that actually had kind of that big of an impact on a community until I took over this role. You saw somebody like Sandy Sigurdsson and the great work she did. And we're, to be honest, we're just blessed to have had you join the team, because I think you share some of those same feelings about how this can benefit the community. But one of the things I think you didn't sign up for was maybe doing this during a pandemic. Like running a chamber during a pandemic, always fun. But so I wanted to find out, we just had, timing being everything. Our Leadership SLO board meeting was this morning, had a great meeting, and wanted to kind of check in on class 29. Obviously they're having an experience that no Leadership SLO class has had. How's that going? What's that feel like? And what are they wanting to get out of this?
Well, big shout out to class 29. I love you. Best class ever? I don't know. We'll find out. I think probably so. Definitely dealing with an entirely different experience than what we expected. And honestly, it's been very hard, I think, for myself and everyone in the class, because we have an expectation of the program. A lot of people have learned that Leadership SLO is the people and the relationships you build. I mean, you do learn incredible things about what makes the region tick, but building those bonds is what it's all about. And so it's been hard because we haven't met in person for 2 months. It was March 13th was our last scheduled day, and I honestly waffled a little bit before finally deciding to postpone that day session, and we moved into sort of a postponement game, and have since been doing our best to maintain the bonds that we created at our retreat and on our first day session, and doing that in this type of format, right? So we're meeting a couple of different times a week with social sort of happy hours, or early morning cup of coffee and having breakfast together, or late night after the kids go to bed. So we're bringing the class together that way and making sure that everybody in the group, depending on their schedule, has a chance to weigh in and talk to one another. Moving forward, what we are hoping to do is to work with our class to determine how to best proceed. And our dream is that we'll be postponed by a few months, but we'll still pull it off, and we'll have as many of those in-person day sessions as we can. I've got a little more clarity after the board meeting this morning about how we're going to make the sessions work between now and then. And I'll share that in more detail with my class at our next few conversations. So I don't want to just blow it out here on Facebook Live before checking in with them. But our plan is to make sure that that experience that everyone expected is what they get. And we're going to pull it off, and we've been maintaining those bonds in the meantime. But the board is doing great work. We've got a COVID-19 work plan strategy in place, sort of a short-term strategic plan for different ways to reach out to our alumni. reach out to our donors and supporters and sponsors, and make sure that the Leadership SLO community is as strong as ever. And we are seeing a lot of opportunity right now. You know, we've been disrupted, you know, and some opportunity emerged. We, you know, have all realized that we could be seeing each other face to face, even though we're not able to find the time to be together in person. And so we've been doing some like luncheons and other things to bring alumni together, and we're gonna hopefully be able to take that to the next level in the future. As a leadership community, our alumni engagement, I think, will be forever benefited or forever changed in a good way because of this, you know? So we're making it work. And just trying to be prepared for the worst. So as we watch the changes in the community and work to protect our economy, we're making sure that the leadership program too is ready to deal with challenges if revenues fall short and that sort of stuff. So the board has been great in leading us through that process. And I'm confident we will be able to proceed well and thrive in the coming years as we get back to our you know, some sort of regular semblance of normal as a community.
Well, and it's, you know, as someone, you know, who I will admit has not been a part of the Leadership SLO classes yet, I wonder if you know, for folks who may not have, I know you came out, you've taken Leadership SLO, made a big difference. I think your spouse did too. And so can you tell, maybe just give the elevator speech, Betsy Nash, my mother-in-law, putting a great one. What's the elevator speech for how Leadership SLO creates local leaders?
Ooh, put me on the spot. That's
on
good.
The spot. What did you do for, how did you take it? Because obviously you've become a local leader and really done a great job with it. What roles did Leadership SLO play in that?
Yeah. I mean, I think the beauty of the Leadership SLO program is there's sort of like 3 planks to making it work. Helping you know the place you live in. So when you understand how things work, you have a little bit more of a feeling of empowerment that you might be able to make a difference. Calling people out to know themselves. So making sure that folks look inward to dig into their values and understand maybe where things are happening in the community or in their business or in local government that don't align with their values. So if you know how to change things and you know what you want to change, then the only final step there is encouraging you to try to make some change. And so Leadership SLO, I think, gives you those 3 pieces. And once you get the nudge of a little bit of a challenge from your fellow classmates, alumni, you feel the inspiration of learning from the day presenters and the various sessions throughout the year, then you're like, okay, I'm going to get involved. And it's going to be probably to start with a nonprofit organization or a cause that you care about. You're digging into those values. And it might, depending on the person, get you to a place where you're like, all right, well, I want to be involved in the future of this community in a big way, you know, in local government or in business leadership or things like that. So that's how it works, I think. Give you that knowledge, give you the little bit of introspection, and then the challenge to get out there and serve.
That's fabulous. It's a great, and it's exactly what I've seen in your leadership and Sandy's leadership, and how to pull that out for folks and make that work and create those local leaders. So one of the things that, you know, I know Sandy even talked about just before she left was trying to reconnect our previous classes and making, I know they kind of do that themselves. They find each other and connect, but I know you've recently started trying to bring them back together and make sure that as an organization, we're doing a lot of those same things. How's that gone? So
far, so good. Like I said, this, you know, how many like sort of tag words can I use in the moment, right? Like, we were disrupted and then we pivoted and now we're, I don't know what else. We're digging in. And, you know, this type of video conference tool has been available to us for years. You know, it's just been a little bit like unnecessary feeling, or like just felt weird doing it, I guess, for us. Like it was somehow lesser than meeting in person always. And now we've acknowledged that it is a valuable tool that overcomes some of the constraints and burdens and challenges that people face on their daily lives. So we've just sort of realized, oh, shoot, we need to engage the alumni to talk to them about what leadership is doing right now and how we're managing through this. We want to hear from the alumni, get their suggestions about how we can be serving the community well. And let's just do Zoom meetings, So what we're doing is having lunch together, and we've been meeting it with chunks of the alumni classes, so a couple classes at a time. So far, it's been about 30 people in a Zoom meeting, and we've been winging it. It's been a little chaotic, I'm building more and more structure and content sort of into the conversations to make sure they're not a total mess. Last time we used breakout rooms, which was fun. And we're going to break out into alumni classes. So you'll be able to spend a little bit of time with a couple of classes and then moving into a breakout room with just your classmates. And it's going great. And I think that's something that we'll continue to do into the future. And I've been running a poll in these lunches to ask people whether or not they think this is an idea we ought to implement during good times and bad. And the answer is yes, definitely, good times and bad. This is a really cool way for us to be able to get classes together and with their classmates, but also let the leadership group overall engage. So we're going to keep doing that. And what we're going to do as well is switch into a phase in the future where we've got a couple of topic-oriented kind of meetings where people can jump in and learn about a specific topic or deal with something a challenge that they're facing with other leadership alumni. So it won't be as class focused, and that should be great. I think there'll be a lot of opportunities for engagement, and people miss that. It's hard to do when you're meeting in person. It's a little bit more manageable when you just have to hop on a computer at home.
Yeah, I had a friend say, never let a crisis go to waste. And, I think on several levels here, what you're talking about is really interesting and will, I think, benefit the program overall long-term. Again, like you just said, bringing the classes together. So I guess if you're in a previous class and you haven't been invited to one yet, your invite's coming soon. So everybody should be watching for those. Because you also might have spread out and gone to different places. Maybe you're no longer in SLO. So it'll be interesting to see some of those folks connect. But I love what you just talked about, less class-based and now more as a leadership SLO grad, doing things for the community. And again, is there a better time to have to try and pull together and do things than in the current kind of COVID crisis? So that's awesome. Really
Thanks.
great.
Yeah, it's exciting. A lot of the alums will see some events created on the Leadership SLO Facebook page in the last 30 minutes. Well, I did a little mad dash this morning, getting more of that scheduled and spread out. And then there'll be some emails going too. But yeah, we're excited to see that. And the goal really right now of a lot of these conversations is to find ways to lift up the people in our community who have been just powering through this challenging time with confidence, with care and compassion, and with a real eye in the moment. How do we deal with this and care for one another and take care of our medical needs while also trying to run 10 steps ahead to make sure that our economy is going to thrive like it was before this happened. And so the goal right now is to figure out ways to lift those people up. You're being noticed. All the community members that are sticking their necks out and doing entirely different jobs are being noticed, and it's huge level of luckiness as a community to have people doing that. So it's like, all right, let's make sure those folks feel the love and can find the energy to get out of bed every day, because it's hard to come by right now, particularly when you're spending so many hours putting yourself out there. I think there's partially this video type stuff, you really put yourself out there in a way that's a little bit different than in person. And that's tough. I've been saying to you, props to Jim, who is now basically a TV anchor, which is not what you expected when you took the job, but it means a lot, and it shows, a real sense of willingness to jump into any challenge, and a set aside of ego, because nobody likes to really look at their own face all that much on a camera or hear their own voice, and now you're stuck doing that all the time.
And the good news, at least it's on Facebook where no one throws comments out just randomly,
Yeah. It's a very pleasant, Facebook is just all, love and joy.
Actually, I will say, coming out of Los Angeles, the way the folks in SLO embrace folks here and the love we give and support is amazing. I'm not sure I would have been as comfortable doing this in another region. So to the people of SLO, thank you for being kind, even if you had something else you'd wanted to say. And now I'm going to ask, now we got, thanks for all the information on Leadership SLO, but now let's get to know Dan a little bit. So if you want to throw in questions into the comments of things you want to know about Dan, one of the things I'd love to know is what's inspiring you right now or keeping you sane in this time of pressure and stress, because we're all feeling it, whether we're a leader of something or just existing here, your children, whatever. What are you doing to try and keep yourself going?
Well, that's a good question. I'm in family mode. You saw my 2.5-year-old here, and we have a newborn. She's 2 months old. So most of my inspiration, honestly, is coming from my partner in crime, Megan, Leadership SLO class 22, and just seeing her power through this when her maternity leave, what's normally a kind of quiet time, a bonding time with your newborn, has been completely derailed. I'm in her world every day, working, kind of running in and out of the office, constantly taking over the internet with live stream videos and telling her she can't, watch a show that she might want to watch or listen to music or whatever. And she's just running with that challenge in a tremendous way. And so I've been drawing a lot of inspiration from that, or we've been drawing inspiration from one another. I posted in the Leadership SLO channel that we're kind of feeling a little lost at sea, and we're talking about how do we get ourselves going a little bit with a little more pep in our step in the morning. And so we wrote a phrase on our window from Maya Angelou, which was, "I do my best because I'm counting on you, counting on me." And so that's kind of been a little bit of a mantra for us. We got to rally around one another because there's this mutual, interdependency that is there, and we have to cover each other's asses every day in order to make sure that we don't lose our minds. And so that little microcosm has been inspirational for me to see how that functions on a community-wide level. And I think that that's the way our community is operating too. So I've been drawing a lot of inspiration just by looking at the various folks that have, jumped into this broadcast role with flying colors and are doing an incredible job spreading information and helping community get through it. That's been big. On the day-to-day, I get a lot of inspiration from just little things around the house. Gardening, this is a season which usually I'm trying to pull together some little food garden for the front yard. Sometimes hitting crisis, like I'm glancing into the backyard at some seedlings that I started that I forgot to water yesterday, and they probably are all dead and gone now at this point. So there's some ups and downs even to that journey, but just being outside has been really helpful, and our roses are blooming. I've been taking the time to stop and smell them, as silly as it sounds. That my leadership group will know, because I was like a broken record yesterday talking about the roses and how good they smell. But those types of little things have been inspirational just because it draws me out of the digital world that we're sucked into. Yeah, and then other than that, spending time with friends and reconnecting across weird boundaries has been really inspirational. Partially the leadership alumni lunches has been really cool, but that's happening in my personal life too. Last night I was playing board games with some friends, in Colorado, and we're close with them, but we wouldn't normally spend, time hanging out. It'd just be, once every year or two. And now we're doing that on a regular basis. And so that's been really cool too. And hearing about how they're dealing with stuff has been inspirational as well.
That's pretty fun. Yeah. In fact, I'm a kind of a board game geek. And so it's funny finding, we've actually found these online games to go participate with. Apparently we all have friends in Colorado and, around back in the LA region, and we're connecting that way, family in New York. So it's a great way to connect, do something that you may not do normally. So that's pretty awesome to hear. I get a question, and I'm wondering if you get it occasionally. I came out of politics. I was behind the scenes. You've been an elected official. But the question always comes up, do you miss it, or do you think you'd ever go back? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I definitely miss it in a lot of ways. I loved serving this city through the council, and I continue to be excited about service in the future, and a little feeling like we got to rally around certain challenges as a community in order to make sure that we're going to thrive in the coming years. And so I often, think about it and wonder, like, hey, should I be involved? Who can I prop up and help get involved and help teach them how to do it well and make sure that they are able to operate with respect and listening and care and strive to, create an economically vibrant but balanced San Luis Obispo in the future. So I think about it a lot for sure. It's not something that I ever would move off the table as an option for the future. I'm still a pretty young kid and have time to think about that stuff. But it's also just such an intimidating workload. The reason I chose not to run again was because we had a 1.5-year-old at the time, and now we've added another kid to the mix. We'll probably be stopping there, but the 2 little ones plus a day job makes it an insurmountable workload. And so, that's the hardest thing, is to understand how to deal with that and whether or not you could handle it and be able to serve the community well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things, and it's so true. I'm sure people realize it's a difficult job. It's not an easy job, but it's also a toll on your family, on everywhere else, whether it's people taking pot shots at you for your policy decisions every day, or if it's just the time commitment that, if you really want to do that job well, you got to go out and you got to be there, and it's very difficult. So I'm always, whether I agree or disagree with someone's policy ideas, I'm always truly appreciative of what they're giving, because it's a lot, and I hope people recognize it. And so thank you for all you did to get there. And I certainly understand, as you have a young family, how difficult that would be, let alone to get to work and do all these other things. So yeah. But there's a lot of benefit that comes from it, right? You do feel that when you get to do some things, you help the community, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that draws me back into it, is just the intimate involvement that you have in trying to solve community problems. The hope is that you're somehow particularly well skilled in doing that. And I'm not sure that I feel that way, but I'm good at listening to other people who are. That's the part that's like, okay, well, not everybody's willing to put themselves out there like this. And if I'm willing to do that and I can be a good listener, maybe I should, do it again at some point. Like, there's like a calling to serve, to deal with those things, for sure.
Well, that's awesome. We're almost out of time here, but we got to get to the final question, the most important. What did we have for lunch today? What did you choose from?
We've got Old Slow Barbecue here, and I haven't been eating much steak, so I got a tri-tip sandwich. And I also got like their version of cornbread, which is the cowboy corn pie, and it's phenomenally good. It's got lots of cheese in it and some real corn and maybe jalapenos too. Oh man, I can't wait to dig in.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. I ended up going with the small burrito from Taco Temple. As you can see here, this is unbelievable. It's a salmon burrito, so I don't know what else is in there. I'm looking forward to it because they always do an amazing job, but I'm going to dig in right after we get started here, or finished up here. But let me say thank you for being, again, like you said, putting yourself out there, being willing to do this. It's so appreciative. I think, again, I've really, truly appreciated getting to know you and all the things that you care about. And I think the community will too. So I really appreciate you spending time with us today, and your family. Really great to see, Viana, and really wishing you all the best, and hope everybody stays healthy over there.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And, like I said earlier, I'm proud to be a part of the Chamber team. It's really been incredible. A lot of people behind the scenes with all the work that we're doing, and props to everybody on the Chamber team, because it's really fun kind of tackling a challenge together, even though I know we're all feeling a little spent from time to time. We're kicking ass. It's great.
Yeah, well said, sir. And so what I'll say to the audience is we're going to be back here every Friday from 12 to 12:30. I will tell you we have next week's guest is not fully locked in, but could be. I know I have 2 people on, and they're both extremely exciting people to have and talk with. So as soon as I have the names confirmed, we will definitely bring you up to speed. But we wish you to come back and every Friday from 12 to 12:30 and just have lunch with us. Throw in some questions, get to know somebody else in the community. We'll be bringing exciting people here. Oh, and I might as well bring up, you know, since we're not, we're having to stay inside, in May, we will have virtual Good Morning SLO. So it's coming for all of you out there, breaking the news here. Set your calendars for the 4th Thursday. It will be Good Morning SLO virtually. Who would have guessed from all the complaining I did about early mornings that I would be bringing it back because I miss it. So thanks everyone for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you around. Have a good one. Stay healthy and well out there.